Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm VelvettB, and thanks for joining me today on this lovely wintry family home build. It's that sort of season in the Northern Hemisphere. It is summer here in New Zealand, but I thought, you know what, let's try and capture the winter. Now, I am not building in the snow. No, I am not building in the snow. I have done this before. I've built in the snow before, and it drove me bananas. Like the not being able to see like the roof and like the plants not looking quite right, and yeah, I know. Sorry, I've got to build in summer. I wimped out. I couldn't build in the snow. But today I am working on a modernish. Yeah, it's definitely modern. It's a modern family home. It's not ultra modern, but it is a modern family home. And I did have an inspiration for this build, so I'm kind of working to that and just trying to work out how I want that to sort of look and yeah, make it sort of pretty. And how the holidays sort of fit in, or the winter sort of fits in, is obviously we go and change it into the snowscape at the end of the video. And, just sort of like a little cozy kind of touches, like a nice warm fireplace so you can snuggle up there when it's a coldy day and yeah, stuff like that. So I haven't actually done a modern build in a little while, so I was really excited to get stuck in and make a modern house because I was just like, oh, I love modern builds. So yes, please give me more, give me more. So I'm doing this lovely modern build. What I really liked about the inspiration for this build, however, is the front and just the way it was shaped around the front. And the challenge for me was trying to capture that shape just within the Sims 4 with just the roofing. And that was just by creating some, I guess, separate kind of roofs and using the shape of the roofs to provide me with the sort of the in and out shape that I've got around the front and the back of the build. So I thought that was a lot of fun, just trying to create that shape. And you'll be able to see it, I think, a lot more clearly when I get the house painted, because you can sort of see the depth of the that sort of front area. So it kind of has that sticky out area and then your depth going in there. But it is a little bit harder to see when it's all drywall, but it is there, I promise. And I did have to do some terrain manipulation in this one because I decided that I was going to have not a gallery, a carriage on the side. So that meant that with the with the build going up on a foundation, it meant that I had to actually manipulate the terrain so that the garage was accessible. Because as soon as you have a house on a foundation and you've got an attached garage, obviously that creates problems. So this is why I went with the terrain with a little bit of a hill around the front. I thought that kind of made sense to make the garage actually look like it was accessible. Because it doesn't seem to me like much point of adding a garage if you don't make it look like it's accessible, if that makes sense. So it made sense to me that I would have to build in a little bit of a slope there. So I'm just getting the paint on the outside done. So I ended up using this paint from Eco Lifestyle. So it has like the bottom layer actually has like a little stripe through it, and that's actually kind of how the house was in the inspiration. Like it had like a different color on the bottom, sort of like on the bottom of the bottom. And that's really hard. Obviously we can't split how we paint the walls in the Sims 4, so I had to find a paint that had that kind of that two-tone to it. And the closest I could find was from Eco Lifestyle. And as you can see here, I did something that I don't often do. I did some steps going up to the house using platforms. I'm not the biggest user of platforms. Like I use them now and then and for little bits and pieces, but I've decided that I kind of want to get into that a little bit more. That you can just do so much as far as landscaping and doing like some interesting landscaping work by using your platforms and um, using your basements and bringing them up, which is what I've done here in the backyard. So I've removed the ceilings from the basements, from the basement area, so that it is visible on this level. and you can kind of have them going down in stairs, so it's kind of like a sunken kind of area. That's the idea there. So I just want to, yeah, it's just me just challenging myself a little bit, just to do something a little bit different and try and, yeah, use platforms and that sort of thing. Also, if you do have an issue with your roofs kind of sticking through the wall, what I've found is all you need to do is redraw the rooms, and that'll get rid of the roof trim sticking through the wall. It's just one of those funny things in The Sims that I've noticed happening, and I've really just sort of worked out a little solution to that, is just simply just redraw the rooms, and then that'll pop the trim away from being visible anymore, because it's really annoying having that trim just facing like coming through the wall. It's like, what, how am I going to cover that up? And it did take me a little while just to figure out the how of it, but that's how you just redraw the rooms and it poof disappears again. I don't know why it happens, and I don't know how it magically just disappears again, but that's how you fix it. So with this build, I did want to go with like a really nice medium kind of toned wood. That was again the inspiration, and I feel like you can sort of see the depth now that you've that I've got the paint in there, with how the front is sort of the front is built. So you've kind of got the side sticking out, and then you've got the depth coming in with the doors, and then the front coming out again. So I feel like, you know, that depth perception is a little bit more visible now with the color there. And it is landscaping time, so I'm just getting my landscape on. Digging around in debug because that's where all the best stuff is. I don't use debug for the sake of using debug. I use debug because that is where the best stuff is, right? And if all of these plants were available through through the regular build by menu, I would use them. I mean, it's not that I have to use these because I want to save money for the build. Although, to be fair, when I am building a starter house, absolutely. But in general, most of the time I'm not building a starter house, and I'm not too worried about the cost so much. So the debug cost thing isn't really such a big deal for me. It's more about the fact that that's where the plants are that I want to use. So, you know, it is what it is. So the landscaping is coming together. I didn't really leave a lot of lawn, so I did do quite a lot of paving. Although, to be fair, a lot of the lawn was around the front, because again, I built in that slope, so that creates the difficulty of not being able to really landscape it, or if you're going to landscape it, it's difficult. And I just wanted to not make it difficult on myself. So I just left it plain, and I think it actually looked fine. I mean, you've kind of got like the swing there, you've got the bikes, and I thought, you know, that just kind of looks like a play area, and you need that in a house. And this is a family house, so you know you're going to have kids there. I'm using the new festive hedges that we get with rewards from the Cozy Holiday reward thing that's happening or has been happening in The Sims. So I'm using that just to create like a cute little nighttime look for the house. And it is something that I do like to consider when I am building, is the nighttime look of the house as well as the daytime look. So I do think about the lighting and how that does bring or how the house does look in the nighttime. Because, you know, obviously The Sims, when you're in there doing your gameplay, you're going to be playing it at all times of night. So it makes sense to have it at least a little bit lit up at nighttime, so the Sims can kind of wander around and do a few of the activities, like the hot tub that I've put down here in one of our basement levels. I'm just using the little camper lights to decorate the outside. I was playing around with the holiday lights as well, but they were a little bit too big, long and droopy. Which sounds like a bit of a weird complaint, but they were a little bit long and droopy. So I went with the little camper lights, which are super cute. I just wish we had like some really nice slottable ceiling lights that were just really super easy to place, but like little tiny fairy lights, not like really big ones like the little camper ones. Like they're a little, you know, they can be a little bit too big at times, but just like the little cute fairy lights. There is one that is kind of like that. I think it might be from Parenthood, but again, it's quite big. Like there's like lots of lights and it's quite bulky. Whereas I just want sort of, sometimes I just want some little delicate fairy lights. And it's just, there isn't really any in the game, but it is what it is. You just work around it. So I'm just doing the last of the landscaping outside. So I am digging into the Riviera Retreat kit here because I love that kit for outdoor living kind of things. It is a really good kit for that, and I do use it all the time. These are the grotto rock, the rocks from the Riviera Retreat kit as well, which have obviously the waterfall off them, and the fire pit also from that pack. I love these little poofs. I've just been using them a bit lately. They are super cute. I think they're from a random stuff pack, like maybe the movie night one or something. They're just like the front swatch of it is quite colorful, so it's one that I've just kind of ignored. But I discovered it a little while ago now, and I was just doing something. I was mucking around trying to find something actually colorful. And then I saw some of the other swatches with it, and I thought, you know what, I really love the shape of it, and like there is a really nice white swatch, and there is some nice swatches and colors with that little poof. So it's been one that's been brought to my attention that I like a lot more than I used to. So it's one of those things, you just kind of build with maybe something that might be a little bit outside of what you would normally build with, and then suddenly you discover this whole new thing that you really like. And you end up using it quite frequently. So that's the case of the poof. Also, I use the patio stuff pack on the outside. So if you're wondering which pack I use there on the deck, so that is a lot of the patio stuff pack with the navy blue umbrella table and everything there. So we have moved to the inside, and we are doing a little bit of floor planning and tidying up. So I'm remembering. For once, I remembered to do the ceilings. I always forget to do the ceilings until I take photos, and then I'm like, I forgot to do the ceilings again. It's only because I take photos that I even remember ceilings half the time. And then, the other things I always forget are the letterbox and the outside bin. I think I've forgotten the outside bin at this point, but I've remembered the ceilings and the letterboxes. So I'm like, yay me! I did it! I had a little room here off to the side behind the stairs. So I thought I would make that kind of like a functional or a semi-functional room. So I put the fuse box in there. I did initially put a working water heater in there, but I had to shrink it down, and I wasn't 100%. Like, I think it will probably still be functional if I shrink it. But then I wasn't 100% if it would be. So I was like, So there is actually, with for rent, you get a functioning water heater, and you can do a non-functioning water heater as well. So this is me just replacing the functioning one with a non-functioning one, because I wasn't really 100% sure if that was going to be working. It was going to take a while to play test, and I was just like, I'll just put the non-functioning one there. Problem solved. So in the garage, I did put a little car in. It's like a little squishy garage too. Like you squash the little car in there and the little bits of furniture and stuff. But I always like to make like some part of my garage functional, so it's actually a reason beyond decoration to have that room. So I put the woodworking table in there, so there would be a reason to actually go into that room and make it, obviously worth the time to have in the build beyond just being a pretty room. I feel like most rooms, if not all rooms, should have some sort of function. No, I think, all rooms, unless I'm just trying to think if there's any exceptions to that, but I was just thinking like a collection room or something. But even then, I mean, that has its function, I guess. So, yeah, I don't know, room should have a function. I'm just going to stick with that statement. So I'm just doing an entrance area here and creating like a little bit of a feature wall using the navy blue. So the contrast color for me, because I'm using the sort of the warm tone woods and really neutral colors, and then bringing in the blue to play with that. So on the outside and the inside, it's going to be like navy blue, maybe with like some other different shades of blue. But I do like to do that when I am building. So, if I've got a neutral palette, just bringing in like an extra color just to bring that pop of life to the build. So it's not just all neutral, although I do love an all neutral build too. So I haven't done one in a long time. Maybe that's something I should do at some point. So I'm working on the bathroom, and now I'm going to be using probably quite a bit of the Life and Death pack because there is such a great modern build by catalog with the Life and Death pack. And I absolutely love it. So, like the kitchen, the bathroom, except for the toilet, because why would we get a new toilet? I mean, yeah, you're right. And the like there's like the little pedestal tables, couches, there's a whole collection of coordinated furniture that is modern and is just absolutely perfect for a modern build. And I've been dying to really use it in a modern build. So I was super happy to get that. To actually create a modern build where I could really just sink my teeth into all the lovely modern furnishings and stuff. So that was a happy thing. Happy place for me. The only thing with this that drives me a little bit nuts is that this bathroom sink with Life and Death, does not come with any toothpaste slots. Like, there's no slots there. Like, you don't get an auto slot for your toothpaste to go on there or anything, which is just bewildering because I'm just, why not? Like, all the other sinks have these little slots, well, almost all the other sinks where it's appropriate to. And, like, there's space there for toothpaste and bits and pieces to go on the sink. So why don't we have a sink slot? Uh-huh. I don't know. Anyway, this is one of the bathrooms upstairs. So let me think. I think there's 3 bathrooms in this. So it's like 3 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms. So it's not like heaps and heaps of bedrooms or anything like that. It's not a super huge build. But the kids' bedroom has bunk beds, so you can fit 2 kids in there and 2 adults, obviously, in the master bedroom. So you can have up to 4 Sims in this house. Easy peasy. But this is the kids' bathroom, if you couldn't tell. I was a little worried about the space because it's only too wide, and I was like, are they actually going to be able to squeeze into that bath? I did play test it, and getting into the bath was absolutely fine. So I do try and play test all of my builds before I put them up on the gallery, unless there is for some reason a big time crunch or I just forget. But I'd say 99% of my builds I do play test, but only lightly because I don't have the time in the day to spend like several hours playtesting a house. So it's just kind of like zoom around. I get a sim and I zoom them around the house and I'm just like, right, try the bed, try the seat. Can they get here? Can they sit on the toilet? Can they get to the bath? I just sort of do that and just like zoom them around. Can you walk through or down this hill if I've done terrain manipulation and bits and pieces like that. So, I just zoom my little simmy around and just make sure that all of the obvious things are playable, and then obviously make the adjustments if I need to, because sometimes, you misjudge how tight an area is that you can get through, or something just isn't, I don't know, something odd happens. Who knows? But yeah, you get the odd thing, but it's usually not too bad for playtesting. Usually. Sometimes it's not so good. I think this build was pretty good from what I remember. So we are obviously doing the kids' room, or just finished the kids' room actually. So I went with a slightly brighter blue in that room. I thought that was appropriate for them because kids, they love a good bright color. A lot of kids do. I'm not gonna, squish a kid into a pigeonhole of having to like bright colors. You don't have to. You can like whatever colors you like. I'm just using this lovely shelf from Speedbuild to add some bits and pieces of clutter to the bathroom, because I didn't have the slots on the sink, I decided to do something a little bit different and add all the little toothpaste and the accessories and bits and pieces on a nice shelf, and I felt like the glass shelf actually really fit the room, so I was like, what, I'm going to use that for once. It's not a shelf I really use all that often outside of maybe a gym, but it's modern, it kind of works having all the glass. So then I'm moving on to the little hallway area that we have up here in the upstairs zone. I just wanted to add like a couple of things just to make it look like a little area where maybe the Sims could hang out. Nothing like it's a thin kind of corridor landing area, so not a lot of room to do much, but there's enough space to put something, so I'm going to put something there. So in the master bedroom, I am going with the Life and Death bed because I adore it. I love the flowers on it. I think it's gorgeous, and I love those nightstands as well. And then I decided to mix that in with Decor to the Max. So Decor to the Max wallpaper, Decor to the Max mirror behind there. And then I'm using the Dream Home Decorator shelving just because it works so perfectly color-wise with the flooring that I'm using in this build. So I am, yeah, going and using a lot of the Dream Home Decorator stuff and just adding a bit of clutter to the shelving as well, just to make it look like it's a bit more lived in. As you do, as you do. And oh, I'm so in love with the Life and Death rugs. Oh, I'm just in love with it so much from the Life and Death pack at the moment. So sorry, I'm going to be using it a lot because I'm just loving the rugs. I love the furnishings that we got in the modern style. It's just, oh, so good. And it just makes me want to use it. So, you know, what you're going to do. I'm not going to say no. So I did fuss around with the colors in this room quite a bit. I was going to bring sort of a pink shade in, but it just wasn't quite working. So I ended up yeeting that and just going back to the neutral tones with the navy. And then we've obviously got the colourful wallpaper there with the flowers on it. Created like a little dressing area using the divider and like a little poof so they can sit down and maybe put their shoes on or their socks on or whatever. And then just a little vanity with the clutter. I do end up getting rid of the ottoman because I felt like the space there to get into the room was a little tight. So I ended up getting rid of the ottoman at the end of the bed because it was just, I felt like it was going to cause problems for the Sims getting in there. So I was like, we'll just get rid of that. And then in the corner, I was like, what do we need there? We need some skill building stuff. So I decided to create a little bit of an mini artist studio. So they've got a little nook there where they've got their art and all the sort of art studio kind of bits and pieces. So I just delved into the art studio kit, obviously, and just like pulled out all the sort of little bits and pieces that I liked there. I did switch through a few different options. I was kind of like, because I had that blank space over on that side, and I was like, what can I put there? And then this cabinet ended up fitting there really nicely because it's quite a narrow space coming in by the door. It's like half a grid. And so that fit there really nicely. It's like perfect. And I was very happy. You know, I built this house in a really odd way. Like I kind of like built half of the bottom, went upstairs and built the entire top, and then came downstairs to the bottom again. I don't know what was up with that. Sometimes I do that. I don't know why. So again, I'm using the Life and Death cabinets, and also again tight spacing in there. So I was a little bit concerned about the sim being able to get in there and use that kitchen because it is only about half a grid of space, but it ended up being enough space there. And obviously I had a little bit of trouble deciding on the wallpaper. And then I saw that lovely wallpaper from, I think it's Parenthood, maybe? And just like that green, that teal tone in with the blue, I was just like, oh yeah. Yeah, because it's got grey tones to it as well. And I was just like, oh, that works. That just like, it's a bright pop of colour, which I thought looked absolutely fantastic. So I was like, oh, I really like that combo. And you can't see, because of the way that I've done the kitchen, you can't actually see the skirting around there. So you can't see, it's got that like traditional modern skirting. You can kind of only see the tile, which I thought was great. I just could not decide where to put that flippin' rubbish bin. Sometimes you just get like caught up on this stupid little thing when it comes to a build. And for me, it was that rubbish bin. I was playing around with it for about 5 minutes, just like, where is this gonna go? As you do. So I'm also using the Life and Death table because, hey, it's perfect and works perfectly with the kitchen. So just use that. And which pack are those curtains from? I feel like maybe it might be the movie stuff pack again. You know, the one with the popcorn icon? Maybe. Don't remember. And now we are moving on to the living area. So the living room, I decided to do something a little different and brought in a stone wall. So I'm using the stone from the Growing Together pack because the chimney that I chose is actually from the Growing Together pack as well. So I actually coordinated my chimney with my living room. So, yeah. It's just a little detail that only I probably would have noticed until I mentioned it. But that it is what it is. So I'm using the Cozy Kitsch fireplace because that's a pack that I kind of want to use more of, and I wanted to bring maybe some elements from that pack into this build a little bit, but I don't think I brought in as much as I was hoping. I'm just throwing some toys around just to give that family kind of vibe, and a nice cozy basket of pillows and lovely cushions in there. And you know what I did with this room? Something a little bit different is that I tried to bring a touch of orange into the room. I saw the chairs in the orange swatch, and I was like with the navy blue, and I was like, oh, you know what? I really like that. So there's like some little teeny tiny touches of orange in the room. And again, I wanted to bring a little bit more of the family vibe to the house. So I'm just thinking of what sort of presents the kids could have in the room. So doing a little dollhouse, and then I was just trying to find a rug that would work. So I found that little rug, which is nice and bright, but also on theme with the rest of the room. A few more toys around there, and I thought, you know what, a family gaming table as well. This is going to be a very family orientated family living in here. So now we are moving on to the tour. So I'm going to leave you guys to enjoy the rest of the screenshots. I hope you have enjoyed the build. I had a lot of fun putting it together, and I just wanted to say thank you. Leave a like, leave a comment, and if you haven't subscribed, I'd love you to subscribe as well, because that way I can show you some more of my lovely builds. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys had fun, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.